Yo ho ho, a pirate's life for me! But who were the real pirates of the Caribbean? And who was the real inspiration for Captain Jack Sparrow? Well, grab your ale, grab your rum, as we plunder into the history of pirates. Yarr! Before we travel to the land of pirates, we first need to travel back to the land of California to the 1960s when a brand new ride was being built. Walt Disney's original concept for Pirates of the Caribbean was to create an interactive walk-through museum, bringing to life the golden age of pirating during the 17th century. However, after the success of Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress at the World's Fair New York in 1964, the idea was altered, and instead of wax figures, Walt Disney and his team opted for animatronics. The ride opened on March the 16th in 1967. It would also be the last ride that Walt Disney worked on before his death in 1966. So when highlighting the golden age of piracy, what was it exactly about the Caribbean that made it so desirable for pirates? For one, the many islands and bays that surrounded the Caribbean made it the perfect spot for smuggling and raiding. The other was its dwindling population. The inhabitants of the Caribbean islands were affected by ill health and diseases, new diseases that were brought over by the European settlers. However, the merchant navy were also constantly hit by malaria and yellow fever outbreak, making it easier for pirates to attack the islands and the Royal Navy to be redundant. As for the best cargo, the pirates' main targets were the Spanish fleet, which held valuable items like gold and silver, and the ship's cargo, like sugar and tobacco, that would then go on to be retraded or resold. But other than the precious cargo, Spain's role in piracy, along with the inspiration for Captain Jack Sparrow, goes deeper than just having an impressive booty. Enter John Ward, professional privateer to Her Majesty the Queen, Elizabeth I. Born in the seaside town of Faversham, Kent in 1553, John Ward began his marine career when Queen Elizabeth I legalised privateering to help defeat the Spanish. The role of a privateer was to bring down enemy ships and to rob them of their beloved booty, with the profits being split, with 5% going towards the Crown, 10% going towards the Lord Admiral, and the rest split between the captain and the ship's crew. A single takedown could earn a privateer more than a sailor did in their entire lifetime, forcing uptake for the Royal Navy to drastically fall. John Ward made a profitable career during Elizabeth's reign and was known for being a flamboyant individual with a taste for alcohol and a wayward nature. During his peak, Ward held a fleet of 15 ships and 1,500 men under his command. He was also described by a captive as being the greatest scoundrel that had ever sailed from England. Sounds very, very familiar.
That is without doubt the worst pirate I have ever seen.
That's got to be the best pirate I've ever seen.
However, Ward would see a drastic shift in his career when James I of England took to the throne in 1603 and banned the act of legal piracy due to the lack of numbers signing up for the Royal Navy. Ward's role was reduced to that of a noble sailor and often spoke ill of the king, claiming that the country had gone to scurvy. However, things would soon begin to change one night in Portsmouth. In 1603, Ward came across a rumour that an empty vessel had been left at the bay. Convincing 30 men to join him, they raided the ship and successfully stole it. However, there was a catch, for the treasure and booty that had been stored on board had in fact been taken off the ship and placed on land by the previous owner. Still, it wasn't all bad, for this led to the pirating career of John Ward. Soon after, Ward sailed to the capital of Tunis in Tunisia and met with the Ottoman Dey, a powerful Turkish soldier. Impressed by Ward's pirateering skills, Dey hired him to bring down enemy ships and to steal their precious cargo. And in return for this, Ward was given a huge plot of land for which he built a magnificent house, one that would not have been possible or indeed acceptable in his hometown of Faversham. One of his captives, Andrew Barker, described the house as being suited more for a prince than that of a pirate. In his later years, Ward converted to Islam and changed his name to Yusuf Rain. He even married for a second time, despite already having a wife in England. He then lost his flamboyant nature that he was renowned for, and instead became a small, greying man who spoke very little other than expletive outbursts. Ward lived out the rest of his days in Tunis and died possibly from the plague at the age of 70 in 1622. His adventures were immortalised through various pamphlets and publications and even a play, capturing his flamboyant nature and performing it to his adoring elite. But what about the other pirate legends that have encountered Captain Jack Sparrow? How do they fit into history? Out of everyone, Captain Blackbeard is probably one of the most infamous pirate legends. Born in 1680, Edward Teach, aka Blackbeard, began his privateering career working on government orders to bring down enemy ships during the Spanish Succession. After the war, Blackbeard turned to a career of pirating under the advice of Captain Benjamin Hornigold, and eventually would climb the ranks to become captain in his own right. Blackbeard's image enticed fear to not only his enemies but also to his crewmates. He would often shoot his members of his crew at random and would cut off his captors' hands for their jewellery, as well as setting fire to his beard to entice fear. This image of terror carried through into Blackbeard's death when he was killed by American private pirate hunters. Tired of Blackbeard's antics, the governor of Virginia, Alexander Spotswood, ordered the private pirate hunters, who were under the command of Lieutenant Robert Maynard, to get rid of Blackbeard. Closing in on Blackbeard's ship around the Oracoke Island, California, the ships went into a violent and smoke-filled battle with grenades and cannons firing from all sides. Blackbeard met his end during a duel between himself and Lieutenant Robert Maynard. However, because of the sheer chaos and the smoke that was happening, they aren't too sure exactly how he died, whether it was from the 20 cuts from the swords or from the 5 bullet holes that were shot into Blackbeard. After this, as a warning, Blackbeard's head was cut off from his body and hung from the mast, whilst 2 of his crewmates were captured and hung. Legend had it that after Blackbeard's head was cut off from his body, his carcass was thrown into the sea, where it was seen swimming 3 times around the ship before drowning. The other infamous legend that joined Captain Jack was Davy Jones. But who or what is Davy Jones? The term Davy Jones's locker was used as a euphemism for heaven or hell, for if a pirate was said to have met Davy Jones's locker, it meant that he had drowned. The origins of Davy Jones are a little murky, though there are possibilities that the reference comes from a pirate named Davy Jones, who terrorised the high seas during the 1700s. Another theory is that the name was inspired by the biblical tale of Jonah, a story of a man who was thrown to sea and swallowed by a whale. And just like Davy Jones, the Flying Dutchman is also based on a pirate legend, a legend that tells of a ghostly ship that can never dock and must forever sail the 7 seas. The first legend tells of Captain Van der Decken and his bid to sail around the Cape of Good Hope for his salvation. The Cape of Good Hope is known for its tumultuous waves and rough seas, and so, caught in a vicious storm, Van der Decken is doomed to sail the sea for all eternity. The second story is of another captain playing for his mortal soul against the devil. This version has been adapted into various poems and stories, with one version by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. The poem tells of a mariner who spots life and death playing dice with each other. Their prize is to win the marina for themselves. Outside of tales, there have been several sightings of the Flying Dutchman, seen in stormy or mist-filled nights, usually around the Cape of Good Hope. Spooky. But I think we've plundered enough pirate booty for today. But if you enjoy what I do, and particularly this Batman style makeup, then please hit that subscribe button, like and share this video for more Disney history content. And for more trivia, quizzes, song quotes, etc., then please follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and there is also the Disney Miss Lizzie Reddit page. So anyway, have an awesome day, me lads, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys, bye.